What's up, guys? It's Andrew Pecoraro with PecksMetalPicks, and today I'm going to be going over the Warped Tour 2018 lineup that just got released. It is the last year of Warped Tour ever, at least in its full form, with tours going across the whole country. Kevin Lyman said something that leads me to believe that for the next couple years it might be on a scaled down version. But in terms of Warped Tour hitting all the normal tour dates, looks like 2018 is going to be the last year for that. So just like the review that I did for the New Age, I'm also streaming this live on Twitch. We just got done listening to some new songs from Parkway Drive, Unearth, Secrets, and yeah, we're gonna turn our attention to the new lineup and see what we think about it. I will say I looked at it for a couple minutes earlier, and I wasn't super impressed, to be honest with you, and there's a couple reasons why. If you look at the main Warped Tour lineup page, you immediately see some big names like Asking Alexandria, All Time Low, Falling in Reverse. I know August Burns Red is supposed to be in here somewhere. Actually, is August Burns Red not going to be on the main stage? Wow! August Burns Red is not on the main stage. That is pretty unbelievable, actually. That's kind of crazy. So basically I'm going to go through and just explain my thoughts about it as I discover things like that. So the other super helpful thing is this lineup that shows, this is going to be super hard for you guys on YouTube to see, so I'm sorry, but all of these ones that are purple, like August Burns Red, has dates underneath it that says, you know, what dates the band is going to be playing. So if you look at this, immediately you might think, oh dang, there's a lot of really big bands playing this year. You have All Time Low, Asking Alexandria, August Burns Red. I mean, I'm not personally a fan of All Time Low or like Falling in Reverse or Taking Back Sunday or The Used, but I mean, these are huge names, like, no matter what. In terms of the ones that I'm interested in, you still have Asking Alexandria, August Burns Red, Under Oath, Silverstein, Knocked Loose. These are awesome, awesome metalcore bands. But then if you look at the fine print, Asking Alexandria is only playing 1 week. So hopefully it'll be yours, maybe not. August Burns Red also only playing 1 week. Knocked Loose has like 3 or 4 dates, and Under Oath has like 2 dates. So automatically your huge bands, like the huge metalcore names, most likely are not going to be playing your date. You're not going to, like, at no point does Asking Alexandria and August Burns Red play the same date. So that's like automatically a bummer. Also, if this 2-week period isn't when your date is, you don't get to see either of those bands. Same thing with Under Oath. This is only like 2 days, so super unlikely this is going to fall on the date that you're going to go. Which means the massive metalcore bands that everybody would want to see, almost nobody is going to get to see them. So what you end up with is what you end up with is some metalcore bands who are like kind of big, and I'm talking about Motionless in White, I'm talking about, where are you, Crown the Empire? So then you have a couple of these big bands, same thing with like Issues, especially now that they kicked Michael Bone out of the band. Like, are they gonna have any screams? I don't know, probably not. So then the first level, you have all the big bands. They're probably not even going to play your date. Your best chance is like one of them is going to be at your date. Next up, on like the second tier of metalcore bands, you have Crown the Empire, Issues, and Motionless in White, all pretty huge names that used to be really good and really heavy, but now they're super soft. So you're pretty much at the third tier already, and I know some of you are going to get upset about me calling the Amity Affliction third tier, but let's be honest here. You're going to have bands like the Amity Affliction, Wage War, and then where are you, Ice 9 Kills? And Ice 9 Kills. You're going to, like, honestly, those are the 3 solid, best metalcore bands that you can definitely count on wanting to see. which is pretty crazy because if you think back to like old school Warped Tour, you used to have bands like Of Mice and Men, The Word Alive, Memphis Mayfire, Asking Alexandria, and The Devil Wears Prada all play in the same year. Like, it was not uncommon for Bring Me the Horizon and Asking Alexandria to play the same year. That would be, like, impossible now. But metalcore just, like, in general is at such a weird stage right now. Because all of the bands who made it so huge to the top are just, like, gone now. Or they're not heavy. They're way past their prime. But they're still around making music, which has made it super hard for small, younger bands like Wage War, Ice Nine Kills, even though Ice Nine Kills is not a young band at all. It makes it really hard for bands like that to move up and become like the new dominant metalcore band. Simply just because you have bands like Bring Me the Horizon, Crown the Empire, The Word Alive, bands like that still occupying the top spots without actually making heavy music. So that is kind of a bummer if you ask me. Pyro says it's going to see Amity Affliction, August Burns Red, Chelsea Grin. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, every year Warped Tour has like one token deathcore band. Last year it was Carnifex. I think the year before that might have been the Black Dahlia Murder, even though that's not deathcore, I know. But anyway, the token deathcore band this year is Chelsea Grin. Which, you know what, honestly, I'm fine with, because Chelsea Grin has improved their live performance so much. So, I don't know. Alex Kohler figured out how to scream live, so they're doing better in my book. Oh, Phineas isn't on the whole tour and the poster got it wrong? Oh, dang. Okay, well that's a bummer, because Phineas is also... I was going to say, then there's like a fourth tier of bands that like are pretty good, but nobody really knows about. And I would put Dayseeker. Every Time I Die is a huge band. They have a ton of history, but in terms of like Warped Tour crowd, not very many people at Warped Tour I feel like are going to know who Every Time I Die is. In Heart's Wake, awesome Australian band. I feel like not a lot of people are going to know about them. Kubla Khan, kind of whatever. My Children, My Bride is a good band. Nobody's going to know about who they are. Same thing with Phineas. And I thought there was one more, but maybe not. Oh yeah, Unearth. I thought it was super funny that Unearth finally got onto Warped Tour. They might have played like a long time ago, but Unearth is a super old school band. And I guess, you know what, like they're making it count by getting in on the last Warped Tour, but... I remember hearing a super old school joke about Unearth, like back when they were barely even relevant. Now they're not relevant at all, but it was like back then it was pretty much like tour for 10 years straight and eventually like somebody's gonna feel bad enough to sign you to their label and just like release albums for you. That is pretty much Unearth's game plan. Yeah, they played in like 06, yeah, and then they just never came back because they're just irrelevant pretty much. So I'm going to go through the actual lineup in terms of like the stages. So if you're not familiar with Warped Tour, they have two main stages where like one band plays over here, and then right when they stop, this band plays, and then over here they get set up for the next band. So it just switches back and forth. And I'm guessing they're going to call them the monster stages, right? Yeah, Mutant Red Dawn and Mutant White Lightning. So those are the two monster ones, and they do like the same thing, basically. It's basically where all the heavy stuff that's not on the main stage is going to be. So let's look at what we have so far. Asking Alexandria, like I said, they're only going to play 1 week. I'm not going to go into the whole details of like spelling out what week every band is going to play for you. Just look it up yourself. But they're only playing 1 week, so basically none of us are going to see them. Then you have Beartooth. I can't believe that Beartooth is on the main stage over August Burns Red. That's just unbelievable. I can't believe it. And that's mostly because I personally think Beartooth's second album was pretty weak. It was basically just a bunch of B-sides from the first album. Other than that, I mean... You have a lot of really soft bands and a lot of throwback bands like 303. Who cares about them anymore? Bowling for Soup. Who cares? Knuckle Puck, I get why they're on. That is kind of fine. I don't know. Like, I can't even talk about most of these bands because I know I'm probably going to say something that is just, like, wrong because I just don't listen to them. But, like, I am under the impression that nobody cares about any of these bands, which I'm sure is untrue, but I just feel like he could have got better bands to be on the main stage, especially when he did that one interview. He talked about all of the old school bands that he wanted to bring back, like all of the bands from the last 20 years that he felt really made Warped Tour what it was, and this is the lineup that he came up with? Are you serious? Like, maybe it's just me, but I kind of thought that it was going to, like, go all out, and it was going to be the best lineup ever in terms of heaviness, and in terms of pop punk, and in terms of bands like 303, I guess, and All Time Low. You know what I mean? I just feel like, is this really the best that they could come up with? It just feels kind of weak. Then on the other stage, yeah, you have All Time Low, Falling in Reverse. Issues doesn't have Michael Bone anymore. So who knows what that's going to turn out like. I mean, Tonight Alive, Real Friends, just basically put like a bunch of, I don't know, there's like, if you look at it, there's no heavy bands other than Asking Alexandria and kind of Beartooth, if you even count them as being like an actual heavy band. And it depends what songs Asking Alexandria even plays, to be honest. Other than Asking and Beartooth, there are no heavy bands on the main stage. Also, depending, I guess if Issues plays old songs too, but I don't know what the deal with their screaming situation is. So then I guess we'll move on to the monster stages, which Amity Affliction, pretty cool. They make a lot of songs about the ocean. You have Chelsea Grin, token deathcore band. D's Nuts, I don't know why they're here. I couldn't tell you. Ice Nine Kills. Dude, I seriously hope that Ice Nine Kills releases some new material before they play, because Every Trick in the Book came out in like 2015, and then they went on Warped Tour after that came out, and it helped them blow up big time, which they've deserved. They've been a band for like 10 years at that point. But, so they played that at a Warped Tour, then they took a year off, and now they're going to play another Warped Tour, and if they don't have new material for that, I mean, I'm still going to see them, and I do love them. They put on a great show, but, like, come on, guys. Get some new material together. Kubla Khan, basically just super monotone. Dude has no range or lows. I don't know. They're fine. They could have picked a way better band. I don't know where Knocked Loose is going to be, but if they're not on one of the monster stages, this should have been Knocked Loose. My Children, My Bride, pretty good band. I don't think too many people know about them. Silverstein, I feel like these guys should have been on the main stage. I'm not even a huge fan of Silverstein, but like, they're soft enough. They could have been on the main stage while still bringing a little bit of heaviness. Wage War, this is... I haven't even looked at what bands are playing the date that I'm going to go, but I have a feeling Wage War is going to be my number one, followed by Ice Nine Kills, just because I have a feeling none of the big bands are going to be playing my Maryland date. I don't know. Wage War is going to be pretty killer, though. They've done great every time I've seen them. Sorry, chat, I've been missing out. Dude, The Word Alive, when they didn't suck, that was a long time ago. Phineas and ABR together would be a pretty good show. And yeah, Every Time I Die. Dude, the thing is Every Time I Die would light up the main stage. They would light it up. They have such good stage presence, so much energy in the songs. Like, I'm talking about bands like The Chariot, Old School Norma Jean, Dillinger Escape Plan type of energy. And, I don't know, I feel like that would actually really impress a lot of the new kids. People who have beef care about 303. Oh my god, Alea, it kills me that I know what that is referring to in their song. It's probably one of those situations where they wanted to have a stellar lineup to finish it off, but it didn't work out how they wanted. Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely turned out that way. I don't know what they imagined was going to happen, but it's definitely not stellar. You think they'll have AJ for the screams? Can he scream? Like, can he actually? And yeah, I'm sure they will play a lot of soft songs. So then on the other monster stage, you have August Burns Red. Hopefully they play Your Date, probably not. Crown the Empire. They don't have Dave as the screamer anymore, and I don't know if Andy, like, before they added Dave, Andy did all of the screams, so, like, he could do it, but I'm sure that they're not going to. So you could pretty much write them off because they're not going to be heavy. Dayseeker's pretty great. Rory, great vocalist. I hope these guys get a lot of attention this year because they definitely deserve it. Every Time I Die, like I've been saying, awesome, awesome band. Harm's Way, don't care too much for them. Then again, I'm not into, like, the hardcore scene. Hail the Sun, alright. In Heart's Wake, great Australian band. Seems like every year they have an Australian band, too. I guess they have two this year with the Amity Affliction, but, like, one year they had I Killed the Prom Queen. I think the year after that they had In Heart's Wake again. Anyway, it would have been cool if they had Thy Art Is Murder. That would have been a good Australian band. Knocked Loose. At least they're playing on the main stage, or the monster stage. There's no way. That was, like, probably my main complaint with how Warped Tour messed up last year, is they put Knocked Loose on way too small of a stage. They should have adjusted halfway through the tour and figured it out, because Knocked Loose was bringing crowds, and they had them on, you know, this, I can't even remember what that stage is called. It's like one of the just total sideshow ones. Motionless in White, they won an award from me for being the biggest tease ever after putting out the 570 song and then following it up with some Marilyn Manson type shit. Yeah, I would watch them. Maybe they'll play Abigail and Creatures. I'm not sure what they even play these days. Necro Goblin. I kind of like this theme that Warped Tour's done the last couple years where, like last year they had Guar, and this year they have Necro Goblin. These guys are super weird. I honestly, like, can't even explain to you what their sound is like, but it's probably unlike most of the stuff you've heard. There's definitely no band on Warped Tour who sounds like them, but I'm imagining that they would be pretty fun to see live. And then you have Under Oath. They're gonna play, like, a couple shows. If I will say this, if Under Oath plays Your Date and you do not see them, you do not deserve to go to Warped Tour. You don't deserve to listen to heavy music. If they play Your Date and you don't go to it, just unsubscribe, unfollow. Like, I don't want you, like, just stop listening to heavy music because you're a disgrace. You must see Under Oath if you get the chance to. Unearth, these guys are probably like 50 by now, so that's pretty much that. All these other ones, oh wow, I can't believe Phineas got put on a Super Sideshow stage. They've been killing it the last two releases. I haven't posted my review of them yet, but I really enjoyed their last album, and the one before that was just as good. Pretty surprised that they're not on a main stage. Especially, they have My Children, My Bride on the main stage. I feel like Phineas is bigger than them. Or not the main stage, but like the monster stage. Other than that, I'm probably not even going to know. Yeah, these two guys, yeah, I have no clue who that is. I'm guessing that they're going to announce more bands because I don't know, actually. I mean, it says down here, additional special guests to be announced. So maybe I'm being way too critical right now. Maybe, like, every single date is going to have a super special guest, or, like, each week they're going to announce who, like, the special guest for the upcoming week is going to be. I honestly wouldn't be surprised about that. I could totally imagine Kevin Lyman doing some type of shenanigans, but as it stands right now, I'm not very impressed. I think they could have done a way better job of picking better highlight bands and getting them to stick around for more than a week or a couple dates. They could have done a way better job of picking better highlight bands and more well-rounded bands that just are like solid all around. I feel like they picked a lot of bands where it's like you either love them or you hate them. Like, I don't know. And I'm sure all the pop punk kids are going to be super bummed. I mean, you have Knuckle Puck, but I don't know. The pop punk kids like to complain all the time anyway. So, yeah, I don't know. It's like, we'll just have to see, you know. I feel like they could announce some new cool guys, but probably not. I feel like everybody's probably a little disappointed right now, especially compared to last year. They did such a good job of rounding it out last year. I know the pop punk kids were upset last year too, but they did a really good job of having solid bands of all genres show up and play a majority of the dates. And this time I feel like they tried to go too big, and it just didn't work out. And then they ended up having to scramble and be like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what happened. They had massive plans. They had a huge vision, and they were like, you know what? We're going to get all of these throwback bands. We're going to get every band, like the main band from the last 20 years each year. That's who we want to get. And then they tried to do that, and they were like, fuck, we're running out of time. We need to book somebody. And then they ended up booking people, which is why they got like such a hodgepodge of people playing all these random dates and stuff. Like, you have your biggest bands playing random dates, essentially, and not sticking around for the whole tour. Like, August Burns Red, dude, when these guys play, they're like Warped Tour veterans. They play the whole tour almost always. I'm kind of surprised Fit for a King isn't on here, just because Fit for a King, I feel like, has played the last, like, 4 out of 6, maybe. That's just, like, a random guess, but I actually think they played 3 or 4 out of the last 5 or 6. So kind of weird that they're not on here. I would have expected that they would just, like, really try to knock the last one out of the park, but yeah, I kind of feel like Kevin Lyman had huge visions. It all fell through, and he was like, fuck, let's just book somebody. And that's why they got all of these, like, super, I don't know, I don't want to say, like, wannabe bands, but, like, it's pretty much like I said, Wage War and Ice Nine Kills are, like, actually the 2 most solid metalcore bands that are playing all of the dates. Which, like, great for them. It's awesome. But, I mean, come on, dude. You should have got August Burns Red to play the whole thing, or The Devil Wears Prada, or even, like, Memphis Mayfire. Like, those guys are still making decently heavy music. I don't know. It's just the big bands that they got are either playing a week or are so soft these days it doesn't even count. I don't know, dude. I can't help but be a little disappointed right now, to tell you the truth. Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened, Dog Nukem. I got super sidetracked, but yeah. Crown the Empire is hotcakes. Retrograde killed them. I don't know if hotcakes is supposed to be a good term or a bad term. I think it means a bad term. I would not describe them as hotcakes. I would describe them as very soft, weak, soggy cakes. But yeah, Dayseeker will hopefully be pretty boss. The bassist was doing screams for CTE. That's pretty weird. That's pretty weird. I wonder if Andy can't scream anymore. Obviously, the lack of heavy bands sucks, but I feel like they left out a bunch of old school bands they could have gotten for nostalgia. Yeah, Micah, like, that's kind of what I'm saying, man. I feel like they didn't do a good job of getting heavy bands, and they didn't do a good job of getting nostalgia bands either. Yeah, the Ernie Ball stage for Knocked Loose, that was pretty boss too. There's so many people. Yo, what's up, Louie? How you doing, man? Oh, yeah, full stage, thanks. I know, it sucks that they're only playing a couple dates, though. Oh, wow. Silent Planet got moved to the Sideshow stage? That's super weird. I was pretty glad that Silent Planet got moved on to one of the monster stages last year. That's the other thing, too, is almost no bands from last year are coming back this year. And I feel like there were some really good standouts last year that definitely should have come back this year, but there's very few from last year who are making a comeback, which is kind of weird. Maybe A Day to Remember plays a date. Bring Me the Horizon, maybe. Blink, that'd be pretty crazy. The Linkin Park date, back in, I don't even know when that was, like 2013 or 14. That actually was at the Ventura show that I was at, so that was really cool to see. I was so far away. Literally half of Warped Tour was watching Linkin Park play, so I could not get close at all, but I was there for it, which was kind of cool. Ew, a Sleeping with Sirens guest spot would be gross. Ryan Kirby tweeted about it too. What did he say, Micah? To expect a headliner from them this summer. That's why, honestly, that's why I think that Warped Tour has such like a hodgepodge of bands and like such random dates, is because I feel like Kevin Lyman had a huge vision and it didn't work out, and then it was too late for him to book bands who already booked their summer headliner. Because like in the summer, bands either jump on Warped Tour, or I don't know, does Rockstar still do their thing? Or like the Summer Slaughter tour. There's like all of these huge tours in the summer, and it's weird for bands to like also do headliners during the summer, just because you have so many of these like massive festival type things. But yeah, I feel like we're gonna see a bunch of summer tours this year, just because they're not playing Warped Tour, and like a lot of the big bands aren't playing Warped Tour, which means like you have tons of headlining bands that have all the free time in the world. Yeah. Anyway, I'll still talk to you guys on stream for a couple minutes, but I'm gonna end it for those of you on YouTube. Thanks for hanging out. If I should have said this at the beginning of the video, but if you want to be a part of this sort of conversation in the future and listen to new music with me and do all the reviews that I do, all that kind of stuff, we would love to have you, and I'll put the link down to my Twitch in the info section below. All you have to do is click the link and it'll take you to my page, which looks like this, and then if you have an account, just follow me and turn the notifications on, and it'll give you an email like once or twice a week when I go live, and that'll tell you when to tune in, and then voila, get to hang out in the chat and listen to new stuff and be part of the conversation. So yeah, hopefully we see you guys, and I don't know, let me know what your thoughts are about Warped Tour in the comment section below. I'm trying not to be too pessimistic about it, but yeah, I'm a little bummed, I'm not gonna lie. So thanks for taking the time to watch, guys, and I don't know, hopefully I'll see you on Twitch soon.